You'll join me for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You've received the minutes of the last meeting. What are your wishes?
Move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Jeff,
First item I have is discussion and approval of the construction plans for project FMCO 38 Aaron 140 -- 55 - 38, our annual FM rock call. You should have on your desk this here, which is our quantities. We're putting down 250 tons on these 5 roads, kind of down towards Conrad area. That's what the maintenance superintendent and the guys picked out for us to spread rock on. So I'm looking for approval of that, the construction plans and the bidding documents, which would require your signatures on the plans cover sheet.
Okay.
And then Alan's on the bidding proposal.
I will make such a motion.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. All right.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Second is the discussion approval of the construction plans and bidding documents for project LFM CO 38 Hawk and 290th double dash 7X dash 38. This is the paving plans for Hawk and 290th overlay that you did the additional bonding amount for.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right.
Any opposed? Thank you.
On your desk, I gave you some information about Jackson's heavy equipment training. I have been in the search of doing some motor grader training for our guys, and I've talked to a bunch of other county engineers, and they have recommended this Jackson's heavy equipment. Not everybody felt like they got their full milk, but the full amount value out of it, but they only did like the number 1 and 2 training. The people who got the most out of it, they felt like it was worth their money, got at least 3, if not 4 on it. I know Wright County they really like their training. So my question to you guys is do we want to do some motor grader training? If so, how much? We can do 1 week's worth and it's gonna cost $11,900, and that basically covers our common practices, everything road top, moving rock around, shaping, getting our crown, some super elevations and stuff like that. We can do an additional week. It would bring the cost up to $21,500, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's right in that area, real tight area. That takes the guys off and actually puts the motor graders on the 4 slopes, showing them how to pull 4 slopes up and starting to rebuild the road. There is an additional couple steps more, but I don't feel like we need to go that far. But I do believe this would really get our guys who don't really know the full extent of the machine and the capabilities of it. I think it would give them some really good experience if we're looking to do that.
So what is your training program now? You got like Ray Calloway just came in.
So right now we can, we have a couple different options, and it's like a couple days training. One, we can send them to a LTAP course, which is basically classroom stuff. That's pretty cheap, I think that's the most common one, and it happens once a year. There is another one, we can actually send them down to Des Moines, but those slots are heavily coveted. If we can actually get anybody into those, they go out on Camp Dodge and they take them around and rebuild some roads with newer equipment. This one here puts the guys on our roads in our equipment.
What is the cost? If you could get into the Fort Dodge? Any idea?
I wanna say it's a couple $1,000s
Per individual?
per individual, but I can't, don't quote me on it, I can't.
And this,
I never was able to get anybody in, so I never knew.
this program, if I remember right, up to 10 people.
So it's 10 people plus an additional cost per person after. We have 12 machines, we could send 12 people out. And then we have 2 spares, we could send another 2, but I wasn't going to necessarily do that. I figured all of our current full-time blade operators plus our winter blade operators could go to this. And that would put us at 12.
I remember $190.
An additional per additional.
Over 10
per day.
per, yeah.
Yes, so that's how I came up with the 11,900 for the first week. And then there's an additional second week.
Where's this done at?
Here in Grundy. The guy comes here, works with our guys on our equipment. And does that.
Looking at that. Which level? Or does-
So levels 1, 2, and 3, I believe are our first week, and level 4 would be our second week. And if you guys wanna think about it, that's fine.
Well,
I
I
just
always
wanted
felt
to-
that this is something that we should be doing.
Yeah,
Cause we get new operators.
And I'd like to get, at least do it once and see how it
I
works for us.
I think I would go along supporting at least
I mean,
trying this.
you know, we got
I
some.
think it's important.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
And if you would like, tell me, do you wanna do the full 2 weeks or the 1 week?
I would support 1 week. So the whole crew's out there at the same time, right?
Yes.
When would this take place?
Once we get a signed agreement with them, we'll work on it, but it'll take place this summer or this spring or whenever he can fit it into, like, we can work out a schedule.
So if we agree to do this, it'll be mandatory for the 12 operators to attend this class, right?
Well, my thoughts were that when we were hired, the maintenance supervisor supposed to train us.
Yep.
He was to take us out and train us, which Craig Arkin did. To me, and went along with the guys. I don't know if he didn't ride with them or anything like that, but he followed them. More Marty does, but
Marty does the same thing, and then also other blades will go with an individual.
right, cause you got some guys that's been there a lot of years, Troy Barnes, Conrad.
But,
You
and
could
it's
probably
also,
build an instructor, something like that,
you know,
do with it, like, you know,
this is just another course.
I know.
Now, this is something you're asking us for the money for? This would
No,
come out of-
no, I mean, it come out of my
It's your
budget, but this is, you know, a very large item. I don't wanna just say, I'm gonna spend this money.
Right,
I want your guys'
that's
input.
where I was going with that.
Is this a yearly thing or?
This is a one-time thing. I mean, if this shapes out to be really great, then I would happen to do it again. But I don't necessarily know if we train everybody up, we could also just send 6 people and sell the other slots to surrounding counties. He doesn't care where people come from, but you have to have your own motor grader. And if, you know, we don't have that big of a turnover, so I don't expect, you know, if another county has or surrounding county has a slot, they get them, I would probably send a newer person to them. And take one of the slots.
because ideally, I mean, once you take this, you
Yeah.
shouldn't need it every year.
No, you would not need it every year.
Well, I'll go on record as saying that I've had several constituents asking me, do we train our blade operators? And if we don't, that they suggest that we should. New hires especially.
That's what I would say, new hires, but. Cause I had somebody ask me, what's the qualifications to be a maintainer operator, the class A CDL? When I got hired out there, I applied for blade operator or truck driver. Okay? They asked me in my interview, Craig and Gary, both of them, have you ever run a blade? I said, no, I haven't. Good. They don't. That's the way we can train you, the way we want you to. A lot of people that come from running a blade for somebody else got that bad habits, and first of all, they're building roads. Right. Not maintaining roads.
Yeah.
So that was what Gary and Craig told me. And I said, I never run a blade, but no doubt that I could have.
You're trainable, huh?
Well, I'm trainable.
People think a blade is like running a dump truck or a backhoe.
It's not.
It's not,
No,
it
it's
is,
not.
it is an art, it is a paintbrush. It is the fine details.
And some people will never get it,
No,
It's true.
it's not.
Yeah.
True statement.
never get it. They'll be in there for 30 years and they'll still be the same. So,
I'll make a motion that we allow Jeff to, sign the contract with Jackson's for up to roughly $12,000.
Okay.
Where did you read that? You just sort of.
I'll second his motion.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second for up to $12,000 or about a week's worth. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Any opposed?
hey,
Motion passes.
Last on the list is the approval of the utility permit for Alliant Energy to rebuild existing facilities northwest of Conrad. It's on 310th Street, 320th, 330th E and H Avenue. It kind of goes west of Conrad along the pavement there, jumps up Highway 14 and then down towards Witten on Witten's Blackhawk pavement. And then it does a little bit on the south side of Conrad. But
Is there a motion to approve that permit?
make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Fine.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
what we're doing this week is, the Jason's Hoe is out running northwest of Rhinebeck, brush cutting. We also have the chipper going, kind of all scattered throughout the county, and we are going to be hauling rock. Kirk, backhoe has broken down. It's probably going to cost us quite a bit, but currently does not have any brakes. So we're getting the brakes fixed on it.
That's really good.
And then, we do know that the hydraulics in the circle are starting to go, so we're gonna dip our toes into that to see how bad that's gonna get, how bad that is.
Is that the one you're wanting to replace?
Yes. I know it's 14 years old. Typically we sell them off, 15 to 20 years old is kind of when they go. For us anyway. Last week we were hauling rock and we did do patching. There north and east of Dyke and on the Pioneer slab. Got some potholes fixed.
I heard you were hauling shoulder rock, 3/4 inch.
We are stockpiling some for this year to try to get some of our shouldering done faster.
Run to the board.
Yep.
Any other questions for Jeff? Okay. All right.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
Thanks, Jeff. Peace.
Good morning.
Morning, Joyce.
We have the courthouse security reports, which I believe hopefully you all got ahead of time. We just need to approve that so I can get it sent back in. You probably saw that it was due September 30th. I didn't get it until the middle of December. I told her it'll be a little bit because have like Jesse's help with IT and he was on vacation and it's just hard around the holidays, so. They're fine with whatever we get it back as long as it's as soon as possible. Do you guys have any questions?
Anybody have any?
We had a meeting last Thursday. We did a pretty good in-depth look at it and we've got some things that we'd like to change potentially to the. Our security plan at the courthouse, so we're gonna be looking into those moving forward and just key control and signage that needs to be posted around the courthouse and. Just getting it up to date, because I don't think it's been touched since 2016 when it was approved, so.
Did you sign in the window there when they came in?
You
I'll move approval of the security report.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay,
awesome.
other than that, anything else? Other than the burn ban?
Burn ban, effective July 1st, the Northeast Iowa Response Groups or our hazmat group will be county. Howshi, I think, is forming their own hazmat team. They've been building supplies over the years. So they're gonna have their own LAPC and agreements with hazmat teams that are closer to cover it. I know Grinnell Fire's in that county and they've kind of been building up their own hazmat supplies and. So we'll be down to, I think, 10 counties instead of 11.
Okay.
That's kind of the biggest change there. Have their budget meeting coming up next week, I think. So, otherwise, nope, that's about it.
All right, thanks, Chase.
Thank you, guys.
And Alyssa and Beth, I'll let you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks. So, you have
I
one,
forget mine.
okay. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. I'm Mary Beth Stevenson. And I'll take a moment to introduce myself, but I'm gonna let Alyssa go ahead and introduce herself first before I jump in.
Yeah, I'm Melissa Comer. I just started with the East Central Iowa Council of Governments in September. And I'm working as a environmental specialist focusing on watershed, management authority, collaboration and work.
Yeah, so I'm Mary Beth Stevenson and I work for the city of Cedar Rapids and I'm the chair of the Middle Cedar Watershed Management Board. And we actually have a couple other WMA members here today. I'll let you guys just. What do you think?
Dan Van Gasser, City of Grundy Center, and we are involved with the Middle Cedar WMA.
Yeah, so we just wanted to take a little time this morning to introduce our group to you guys and kind of let you know what we're up to. Our group has been in formation since about 2015. And Grundy County has been an important part of our group for that time. Barb had been the previous representative to the WMA. And since you guys are official members of our group, we would be looking to have you guys authorize another member or appointee to our board. So since we're kind of asking you guys about that, we wanted to take time to make sure everybody understands who we are and what we do and the service that we provide to the region. So we are a watershed management authority, which is a 28E agreement between cities, counties, and soil and water conservation districts within a specified water. So our watershed is the Middle Cedar. It's a pretty large area. And there's actually a map on the next page here. Actually on page 16. So let's just kind of jump ahead here a little bit. Yeah, so this kind of gives you a sense of the watershed that we work in. It's a pretty big area. You guys all have it says who is the MCWMA on it. Sorry about that. And so we cover a pretty big area, Lynn County, Benton County, a little bit of Buchanan County, Black Hawk County, quite a bit of Grundy County, Tama County, Butler, and a bit of Franklin and Hardin counties as well. So that's kind of the region that we cover. And sorry, I don't want to make you guys flip back and forth too much through this. But I did want to give you a little bit of an explanation about what watershed management authorities are and how we came into existence. What is a WMA page kind of earlier in the PowerPoint presentation? Explains that, WMAs are these intergovernmental cooperative agreements. And, they were established, back in, immediately following the 2008 flooding crisis that we had here in our region. So the Cedar River flood of 2008 was a very life-changing event for many, many people in our region. And it really made us rethink how we handle our water resources management and really kind of shone a light on the importance for collaborative watershed management. So in 2010, the legislators passed this bill to allow WMAs to form. And if you flip to the next page, there's a map that says Iowa's watershed management authorities. Back in 2010, when this bill was first passed by the legislature, Iowa had about 6 WMAs. But since then, we are now up to 29 WMAs across the state of Iowa. Because this method this partnership and agreement has really been so successful in bringing in grants and resources, and things like that. The focus of watershed management authorities is kind of twofold. It's on both flood risk reduction and also on water quality improvement. So water quality could be anything related to the Iowa's nutrient reduction strategy, and reducing non-point source pollution from farm fields, or it could be drinking water protection. In my case, the city of Cedar Rapids, we have a shallow alluvial aquifer that's very affected by nitrate. So we're very concerned with nitrate levels in the Cedar River. So the Middle Cedar WMA formed in 2015. And shortly after our group formed, we were part of a big statewide grant through the Housing and Urban Development. It was a federal program for a disaster recovery program that basically gave our group about $8 million. And with that money, we hired a watershed coordinator and we installed a lot of projects around the Middle Cedar watershed area. So this accomplishments page has some photographs of some of the projects that we've been involved with. A lot of water quality focused and flood risk reduction, wetlands, ponds, soil health improvements, things of that nature were things that we worked on. So right here in Grundy County, we're having a lot of impact. Actually, after this meeting, Alyssa and I are going to head over kind of southwest of Rhinebeck to where we have a water quality project going on right now on some farm fields. We're installing saturated buffers and fire reactors, and we've been working closely with Grundy SWCD and the NRCS field office on this. So really just focused on these water quality improvements. So that kind of gives you a flavor for the kind of work that we do. We are currently opportunities. We just submitted a grant to EPA for a farmer to farmer grant that would allow us to hire a coordinator and allow us to keep working on these water quality projects. And as part of our funding arrangement, we have been asking for cities and counties to make a contribution to the WMA. So that is something that I think these guys have received already. And so you'll be seeing that as you put together your budget for the upcoming fiscal year. So we do hope that Grundy County does continue to participate. I don't recall offhand the budget amount that we have requested. Okay, so we'll kind of follow up with you on that, but I want to say it was in the range of $5,000-ish for participation in the WMA over the next year. That money would be going towards a watershed coordinator. It would be going towards education programs and meetings and new water quality improvement projects. So with the funding request, we're also asking you guys to appoint a representative to our group. We have quarterly meetings. They happen typically on Thursdays at 3 o'clock. We do like to meet in person a couple times a year, but we also always have a virtual option as well. But yeah, we just really want to keep the relationship and the partnership going with Grundy County. We do feel that, we're offering a lot of opportunity and a lot of leveraging of local funds with bigger state and federal grants for water quality and flood reduction projects. So with that, I don't know if you guys have any questions for Alyssa or myself. But we're happy to take any questions that you might have. I'm not sure if this is the first time that some of you guys are hearing about our group.
I think it's been a while since we
Yeah,
have.
I don't know that we have actually come in person, because Barb has really sort of been our liaison really since we got started back in 2015. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to come and introduce ourselves and kind of let you know what we're up to, so.
Actually, so LJ, you were appointed to.
Yes.
Yep,
Oh,
and
great.
so, yep, we did do that.
Excellent, I appreciate that. Well,
That's
we'd be
been
happy
done,
to sit down with you at any time and just kind of review some of the projects that we've had going on, things of that nature, if you have any interest in doing, so. Sure. Okay, that sounds great.
So,
Good, any questions for us about the kind of projects that we're involved with?
This Geese King Pond that's in your brochure, that's a pretty neat area. I don't know if you've ever seen that now or not. It's down to Dave Geese King's.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. You need to go down there sometime. Take a look at that.
Yeah.
Project.
We are very much hoping to be able to install more of those projects. They really do provide a lot of local benefits. We had a study that was done by University of Iowa after we put in all these projects, and they showed that they really do have a measurable reduction on peak flows in flooding situations. So want to see more of these across the watershed. And yeah, we feel it's a good way for us to all work together on some things that have common benefit. So.
These more of a low water pond type deal,
Yeah, they are, but really
like a marsh.
it can be a wetland, and those are gonna have a lot of water quality benefits. And then we are doing some like more flood storage type situation, ponds, things of that nature. Things that are gonna hold a little bit more water too, so, yeah. Quite a variety of projects, we're working with private landowners. And so what we try to do is find projects that not only meet watershed goals, but they also meet that local landowners goals. So if they have an interest in habitat, or anything along those lines, then we try to work with that landowner to help them meet whatever goals they have for their property as well. So. All right, any other questions?
any other questions for them?
That sounds
Thank you.
good, and so we will follow up with Alan just on the invoice, and we'll be making that official request to you guys here as well, so, okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
you.
time
Thank
this
you.
morning.
Okay, the Grundy County Veterans Affairs quarterly report was passed around. Take a motion to accept that report.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? And the Grundy County Treasurer's December 31st semi-annual report was passed around. We'll take a motion to accept that
So
report.
moved.
Did you see it?
Did you?
You did? Okay.
Oh.
Sorry.
No.
Oh, yeah. You did. Yep.
Yeah, okay. We have a motion?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a copy of the IGHCP proposed renewal. Alan, what have you, I guess, have you had some discussion?
Well, the
About
good
that.
news was they had, our projected increase for the year is no increase. That was their original, that they are looking to possibly increase their consulting fees. They've not done that in many years, and they'd want to increase it $5 per participant. I think that total, if it's about $365 a month. So it'd be about a little bit over $4,300, I think, a year, but that has to be voted on at the meeting that's this week. So if that takes place, I'll know on Friday. And then they did send out a little notification that said that our claims were a little higher this year than average, but since we increased our partial self-fund account last year, that we're not in danger of running out of any money this year. And then I kind of talked to Don a little bit. Don said he'd like to see us go up maybe 1% just to make sure that account is
Stays within.
stable and stays up a little bit, because it looked like we had just a little bit under 40,000 left in that claims account last year. And they stated that we're at a low risk of running out of money this year. So if we did that, we probably would put ourselves in a little bit better position.
But we did also put in a lump sum.
We did put in a big lump sum
Yes.
last year.
To make that. And you said Denise will be here
Yes, Denise will be here next week, Monday.
to discuss this further, and then we'll know what their plans are.
Yes,
Also.
we'll fully know that plan.
Okay, and so this was just a review, there's no action to be taken on, but you have the numbers.
It's just the good news.
It's kind of nice. to have good
I haven't
news.
seen that. in a
Yeah.
long time.
It's always good to have good news. Are there any other questions about that, or any questions you want, Alan? Cause you are going to the.
Yes, I
meeting,
am.
So. We'll be representing us there. We had the minutes from the work session that was held at secondary roads on January 6th. They were passed around. I would take a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make such a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? We need a motion to approve the liquor license for LBPIA LLC, doing business as TA Express Holland. Would anyone like to make that motion?
So moved.
Located at where?
This is the mill. The mill is having some new owners.
Okay,
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And we also have motion, or need a motion to approve a tobacco vape license for the same business, LVPIA LLC. Is there a motion for that?
so moved.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes. Before we go to recommendations, discussion about the recommendations from the comp board, you said Don had some
Yes, just
things he'd
send
like
him
to
that.
say.
I just clicked him to unmute it there. Don, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Morning, Don.
Good morning.
Hello.
Morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry I couldn't make it there, but some other things I gotta get done. We've got the fiscal year 25, the year that we're currently in, is the reestimate budget is completely done and balanced. We look like we have in the three taxing, general basic, general supplemental, and rural services, we have balances more than what we had budgeted, which is kind of typical. Every year we have that, those excesses are plowed right back into the next year's budget. But it gives us cushion if there's a budget amendment that still needs to be done before the end of the year. So I think, and right now, what we look so far in fiscal year 26 budget, I have not been able to verify all the figures yet. But we have plenty of room to grow yet in general basic before we hit our limit. We have to tax the limit, even though we were cut 1% down, before we can levy anything in general supplemental. So what ends up happening is we levy the max in general basic, and then for years we've transferred from general basic into general supplemental. And general supplemental handles the property and liability insurance of the county, elections, payroll, IPERS, FICA, and health insurance. That's about all what is paid out of that. And with the good news for the insurance, that won't be going up that much. So right now, the budget looks very favorable. Like a lot of the departments have said, they are always cautious on the revenue what they put in, and if they don't need it, they don't spend the full budget. And that has been an ongoing, long-term, after all the years I've done budgets, the departments have always been really good at that. Sorry, I don't have handouts, but but I just
does
got
any-
it finished and balanced this weekend.
No, that's not a problem, Don. It's a lot of work. Does anybody have any questions?
So in your projection saying that it looks like we're in pretty good shape, have you taken into consideration any of the grant requests in this new budget, Don, or not?
I'm figuring, Angie, did you put all the grant requests in as they were asked?
Yes.
Okay, then they're all in there as presented. Nothing
Okay.
has been, everything is in the fiscal 26 as the people have asked. Nothing has
Okay.
been cut. So you still have that option to go through. And then you still have to finalize the wages or the comp
Right.
board recommendations.
Right.
But it looks very favorable. You know, that what you guys were talking last week for percentages, or however you have to do it by dollars. We should be able to handle it without any problem.
Okay,
Sounds good, Don.
yeah.
Yeah,
We appreciate your efforts again.
well, not a problem. I'll send you my bill.
Oh, yeah, you're a good man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I try. So
right.
that's just saying it looks good. As long as nothing unexpectedly comes up yet, we're in good shape.
Okay, that's those unexpected, but no, that sounds good. Thank you, Don.
Okay, thanks, Don.
You're welcome. You'll buy.
Goodbye.
So the next item on our agenda, consideration and possible action on recommendations from the comp board. Don't all speak at once?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I spoke last week.
I think the percentage of raise is actually probably the fairest way to do it too. I know last week I spoke on a dollar amount, but kind of hard to do with elected officials and all that.
Yeah.
So these, being new to the board, these numbers, are these consistent with what they proposed before, or are these higher?
So I went back the last 3 years and just so that you have some references to what we've done in the past. In 20. So these would be the years the comp board recommended. So in 2021, we meet in December. They recommended 6.5% for elected officials, 14.5% for the attorney, 15% for the sheriff. That year we kept things as they were. We did reduce the supervisors down to 2.5%. At the 2022 meeting, it was recommended 14.5% for the sheriff, 8% for everyone else. We reduced across the board 20%. And in the 2023 meeting, it's recommended 9% for the. No, that wasn't the recommendation. That's what we did. Sorry. The attorney got 9%. All others got 6%, and the supervisors took none. So 2022, sorry, I was wrong. It was 10%. And we reduced by 20, so we went down to 8. That was what they actually got. I wasn't reading my notes correctly. So we have had some substantial increases over the last 3 years. Some of that was with the back the blue bill. Yeah, so the sheriff's went up. We also were limited. We had to cut equally. This year we do not have that. We don't have to do that. I believe most of the recommendations were right at a 5% increase this year. The attorneys was higher
Supervisors was higher.
and supervisors was higher. Yes.
Well, I have a lot of faith in the comp board members that decide these things. They do have to do a little more research this now. So. Whatever that means. I think 5% is fair. From what I've talked to down at Des Moines last week to some of the other counties and stuff like that, that's pretty much what
So you're, cause I've heard, yeah, I've
my
heard
table was.
3, 4.
My table
So
was
far.
5 a dare.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'm open.
So from a few of the counties up here, I've heard between 3 and 4. That they were thinking, there was one that was, they were doing 2.5. But. I think that they were in line. Vic, got any thoughts?
I was thinking 3 to 4% is what I've been thinking. The cost of living, I think, was mentioned at 2.5%. 4, I don't have a problem. 5%. Guess I'd like a little time to stew that over a little bit, but it might be possible, especially with Don's report. We have to admit, we have to remember that it doesn't seem like everything goes as planned either. We always have emergencies that we have to fund, and but yet we want to keep our good workforce too.
Yeah.
The insurance renewal certainly will help a lot. So I'm thinking that instead of 3 to 4, perhaps that 4 to 5. Property insurance, what did that?
I think he was talking maybe 5%.
5% this year.
And those are some items that we can't control.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, is anyone ready to make decisions? Sounds always a tough one.
Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll move 4%.
Across the board?
Yeah.
Okay. What do
A
you,
second.
all right. We have a motion and a second for 4% across the board increase. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. I believe that carried. So we have a 4% across the board increase. Thank you. Angie, is there anything else that we need as far as budget wise for today?
Not right now, no. When they get back with the Middle Cedar watershed, we'll need a letter or something. Sounds like they're gonna prepare that, cause I had something from Grundy County soil and water, but I don't think that's the same thing.
No, it isn't.
So,
Mm-mm.
so I haven't seen a request from Middle Cedar Watershed.
They'll get us one.
But yeah, Don and I have been working hard on the budget and, moving forward to the next step. Having the raises and everything figured out, it's gonna help us get moving a little bit quicker on that, so we're not waiting. There'll be a lot of work to put in these changes in the next week or two.
It's always a lot of work. in the
Yep.
budget. Always. All right. Are there any updates on board and committee meetings?
We had a safety meeting. He's pretty well covered the highlights. We talked about the security items and reviewing some more, so I think that was the major focus.
Okay.
We went to our, new supervisors training, I guess. that was
Yes,
called.
yeah, state supervisor meeting, yeah.
Supervisor meeting, and now I'm middle of that, but it was, a lot of information again. A lot of legislative talk, you know, what they're talking about at the Capitol and what they're gonna get done. Nobody knows. A lot of fresh ideas. They said they had 1,400, was it, or something, 1,400
I wanted to say they usually have 14. I thought they said they had 1,800 proposals
proposals.
Yeah. out there. So there's, yeah, a
A
lot of
ideas. In
ideas.
committee, I guess they would.
So we gonna buy the southern part of Minnesota?
They didn't get into specifics as to what's gonna all happen, but yeah, it sounds like there's a lot going on, so you know, a lot of those things will be cut. We did also have the Kelly Garcia from Health and Human Services was there, but there wasn't really a lot of new information. A lot of talking in circles, I thought.
Yeah, professional,
Did they study?
professional politician, I say, right there.
There's a lot of work to be done by them before July 1st to keep services moving forward is just the way I felt, but otherwise it was good. It was good to talk to other supervisors from other counties. Some ideas.
Maybe a little bit off the subject, but since we got Alan and Angie here, he handed out an unfunded mandates sheet a couple weeks ago. Did you add up what all that cost Grundy County?
I
Sure.
started
Is
on
that
some,
Is
that-
that possible? I mean,
on some of the things that need to be
I mean,
done.
like that taxation bill, I think that $3,800 sticks in my mind, but
I think it was more than that, the extra mailing last year.
Did they talk a little
They-
bit about changing some of that mailing?
They're discussing it, because it has been brought up, if it would be able to have possibly a link, like on your web, where they could either opt in to have it mailed to them or emailed to them, which, would help with the mailing costs, but you would still have to prepare it, the extra work to go into preparing it. So that's in discussion. I don't know that it's gonna clear anything up. I still think it confuses people when they get that because it has all the entities on it and it's not clear. And like I said, that last sentence on there says this is still not a final, it's still up for change, so. But, so they're discussing, but like they said, any input that they would receive would be helpful too. I don't know if it'll help, but would be helpful. But yeah, there's a lot of those on there that would be helpful if we could have some funds back.
We're also pretty concerned about, well, if a person in jail needed medical attention and this, if they're Medicare and Medicaid would kick in and who would pay for it, or the
Well, with-
counties right now are kind of.
And with the new changes being implemented with behavioral health, none of that's clear yet. some of those services, it will be if it is deemed necessary, and that word deemed is kind of open to interpretation, so more to come on that front.
Just a little bit. That subject came up at Central Iowa Detention,
Mhm.
and deemed necessary created a problem because Central Iowa is going to err on the side of safety. So they don't make a decision that comes to bite them again. So
Yeah.
they're gonna be more safety orientated than to take the chance of something happening. So and that word deemed is kind of
Yeah.
interpretation.
Naturally, they probably would. Anywhere because of the chance of a lawsuit or something like that, or
So,
that was a big concern at my table, I had people. They spent a lot of money on transporting people.
Yeah. there was a news or webinar came out later in the week. I still don't think that was all clear as to what was gonna be covered or what wasn't gonna be covered, but maybe they're starting to figure it out.
At least they're all thinking about it.
Well, they should be. It's supposed to be in place by July 1st,
Yep.
ready to go, up and running, seamless takeover. I don't know.
She had a lot
I have a little skepticism
of, she
there.
had a lot of confidence in it.
Yes, yes. Did anyone else have any other meetings this week? I'm gonna change the subject. I did have, Iowa Workforce Development Finance Committee meeting. It's organizational. We have a new chair. They are dealing with some things on audits, waiting on a state audit, waiting on some other paperwork to get finished up. And then when we had one-step certification on Tuesday, and that was just pretty much going through the guidelines and making sure that we were aware of what was going on there. So, is there anything else to come before the board?
Todd asked if they talked about any property tax changes at your supervisor meeting.
Any property tax changes?
Yeah.
No. I did not. No. There was not much. Actually, there was not a whole lot of talk, discussion. I mean, outside of what at our tables, but. And that wasn't much, so. But anything else, Butch? You got anything for us today? No? No. All right, if there's nothing else to come before the board, I would take a motion to adjourn.
I moved to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.